What's up? What's up? What's up, Peggy, Sly Angel, Crystal, 51 Lurkers? What's up? What's up? What's up, Amber? How you guys doing today? I've been painting candles, not painting candles, painting and doing candles. So don't forget, order your candles. Don't look at the website on the bottom of the overlay. It's an old overlay. So if my internet just completely crashes, don't freak out, but we are on a tornado watch. So hopefully nothing happens, but just in case something happens, my internet goes out. You guys know why. So I've been on and off watching Ryan Hill all day, and he's got like 100,000 people watching him. He's like the one person that I can say shouldn't watch chat, simply because he's got 100,000 people watching him. Honestly, I don't even know why anybody tries to talk to him, because he can't even read it. That's too many people. So what's up, Karen? Hey, who came in? Heather. What's up, Heather? So I got a lot to say. Oh, the weather's bad. Hold on. I mean, it looks fine outside. He's got 97,000 people watching. All right. So looking at his map, he's showing Kentucky. He's showing Kentucky at the moment. But I'll show you what I mean. Hold on. But like his overlay, like that's me. Whoop. Part of that red, that's me. I'm like, no. So yeah, then we got notification that there is a tornado watch. Hey, Debbie. Debbie, I was going to call you later. I got to call Allie too right after my live. So yeah, so it's a little scary. Thanks, Powder Puff. So yeah, so that's what's happening there. And yeah, they keep showing major tornado outbreak, but we don't know yet. But I'm like on the border of Alabama and Tennessee, so it's kind of bad. But Dayton stayed home today because he woke up late, and I was like, no, I'm not fucking driving him to school for 2 hours. So I told him he could stay home. So let me tell you what's going on, why I decided to go live. Is the whole community getting trolled? Because that's what I feel like. I've almost lost my desire for true crime looking at this Sebastian Rogers case. And I sat and thought about this really hard last night. So I thought one of two things. I could sit here and bitch about it, or I can make a change. And then I thought, all right, how am I going to make a change? Then I sat back and thought, maybe that's the goal. Maybe I just need to find a way to change it instead of bitching about it. So I've been working on that. I don't know how, but I've been working on that. I've been thinking about this all day, all night, last night. I'm just not sure how I'm going to change it. But it's like I've lost my desire due to how I don't want to say how dumb people are. Hey, just a mom. I don't want to say how dumb people are, but I can't believe what I'm seeing. Hey, True Texan. Guys, I've said this for years. Just because someone has a lot of subs doesn't make them more credible. I don't know how many times I can say this. JLR is a fraud. He is a troll. I understand people can change. JLR has not changed in the least. And I don't know why people can't see it. And let me preface this too. I don't blame Dolly for doing what JLR does. I don't. If you can live with yourself with clickbait and trolling and a bunch of bullshit, then you go right ahead. You go right ahead. I will not down him for it. I will not say that he's wrong for it. If that's what he wants to do, then more power to him. Would I ever sell my soul like that? Absolutely not. There's not any amount of subs that I can get by knowing that I'm blatantly scamming people and blatantly lying to people. That I can't do. So if he can, more power to him. Go for it. But this case has turned into the biggest shit show ever. And it mainly started from JLR. Mainly from JLR. All of a sudden, they think the parents are guilty. Why? Because of JLR. Unless you have a missing child, you have no clue how you're going to react, what you're going to say, what seems odd, what doesn't seem odd. When it comes to this United Kingdom, I don't know, United Cajun Navy, Army, whatever, they have absolutely were called in by the police. They were asked to come in because they were on another trial, another case, Riley. But they didn't like JLR. And for some reason, JLR started this rumor about them and everybody ran with it. To this day, everybody's running with it. Do people not look up research? Do people not look up facts? This group is legit. If you look at the names that were involved, from the ones that wrote that letter to JLR, as compared to the ones that Dietz and Chasing Truth did some digging in, they're the same group. They're the same people. But everybody ran with, almost everybody ran with, the fact that, no, the police brought them in, from what I understand. Well, the father is a cop, isn't he? Isn't the father a real police officer? So he is a police officer. So he knows the group. But JLR started all of these rumors for no reason, and everybody ran with it. He's a corrections officer. Okay. And everybody ran with it. Why? Why? Because JLR said it? I'm sorry. Tell me when JLR became credible, because maybe I missed it. Like, seriously, maybe I missed where JLR became credible. I'm at a loss for words. That so many rumors he started and then walks away. Walks away. The police did not call them in. In the press conference today, they said they were working independently. Yeah, but every group is working independently. Everyone works independently. They have not reached out to them? I didn't hear that. Hold on, let's watch. All right, here it is. Did some dirty shit playing. I recorded a call. Then went on QB's earlier in line, said Todd knew she was recording him. I'm going to get to her too. Have no doubt. I will get to her. Hold on. Let me cover this overlay. Cable's out. Oh, no. Hey, Ash.
All right, I am Eric Craddock, ERIC-CRADDOCK, and I'm the Chief Deputy at the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. I'm joined today by Susan Nyland, SUSAN, NILAND, of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. She's the PIM. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KENWEIDNER. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with Sumner County Sheriff's Office, and we're going to come to you today with an update on the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian has been missing since late February. The investigation remains ongoing with steadfast support from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, and many other local and federal resources. We are exploring every lead that comes in and every tip that comes in. As I said before, the investigation remains ongoing. The entire community is deeply saddened by what has occurred. We're all extremely concerned for Sebastian's welfare. I want to encourage the community to stay vigilant, to report anything that they think may be of some significance to the investigation, no matter how minute it may appear to be to you. Please call 1-800-TBI-FIND with any tips, or the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838. We understand the anxiety and the concern that this case has caused in the community. We too share the anxiety and concern for Sebastian. I want to reiterate that we are doing everything we can to find Sebastian and bring him home. Despite the passage of time, the commitment to finding Sebastian remains unwavering. I said this when we scaled the search back. Our commitment to finding Sebastian remains. We will continue to investigate every possible lead that comes in. The Sumner County Sheriff's Office wants to express our gratitude to the community and the many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Nyland from the TBI.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian, in finding out what happened to him and bringing him home. And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work.
So my one question is, why did anybody think it was done? Like, where did anybody get the impression that it was done? I don't get that.
Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing individuals, checking out leads, rechecking leads. We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that. Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can to advance the investigation. It is not.
And going back to my point before, every single agency that they just named is independent. So that's why I don't understand where this line of, oh my God, Cajun's independent. They're all independent. Hey, Denise. So that's why I'm lost on where people are confusing the simple facts of them being independent. Of course they're independent. Everybody's independent.
Gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now.
Thank you, Peggy. And do you guys hear that? They just said it. The parents are not involved. Hey, Moxie. The parents are not involved. So people need to stop running with this bullshit that it's the parents and blah, blah, blah. The cops don't think it's the parents. And that's pretty important. The cops are saying the parents are not guilty. They've done everything we've asked. So people are just looking for fucking drama. That is what they said.
That there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now. So we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that that is not the case. Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. We don't want this to damage the investigation. So we would just caution anyone who is following the case to just use some caution as to what you see and what you believe. It's caused a bit of a distraction because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced and people have caught a hold of it as
Not yet. Not yet, Ellie.
if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov. What's next? We want people, as Chief Deputy said, to continue to remain vigilant, get Sebastian's picture out there, continue to share his picture, his information. Now that it's getting to be nicer, well, not today with the weather, but now that the weather has turned warmer, people may be more inclined to be in their yards. If you go out and see anything that looks different, let us know. Something where perhaps a teenager could have hidden. If you have a large amount of property in the area or something that has any kind of holes or unstable footing or ledges where a teen could have gone to hide or to play, and you don't feel comfortable checking it out, let us know. We'll get somebody from law enforcement to go out there with you or to check it out themselves. We just want to make sure that every stone is unturned, that there's no stone left unturned, that we want people to make sure that we are looking everywhere we can. We do want to continue to get the tips, but please make it don't provide information that you might have seen through social media channels. If you have information about Sebastian, about conversations you might have had with him, things he likes to do, places he liked to go, any people he may have mentioned that are in his life, that could be helpful in finding out maybe what he was interested in. Finally, we want to thank the community. We want to thank the media. You guys have been really good about keeping his name in the public's eye. That's really important. And thank you for your diligence in providing that information out there. And as Chief Deputy said, we also want to thank the community. From the very first day, everybody has really been all in as far as whatever they can do to help in the search, to help pass information on, providing water for the teams that were out conducting the ground searches. So thank you again to everybody. I'm going to pass it back to Eric Credit.
The weather is rolling in. We've got time for some questions. So yes, ma'am.
I was a few minutes behind, so sorry if I missed this, but has there been any indication at this point of foul play or anything of that nature?
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out.
We're not ruling anything.
Again, there is no evidence to support foul play in any capacity. They said it again. All of this rumor started from JLR. JLR was the one who said the parents are involved. United Cajun is a scam, blah, blah, blah. That's how this all started.
So 5 weeks, and you guys covered so much ground, searching, going back, researching, checked out every case of a possible sighting, nothing confirmed, not a trace of Sebastian.
Of course they can't rule it out. You can't rule out anything until you have answers. That's like someone saying, you know, definitively that someone did it. Or I'm sorry, you know definitively someone didn't do something. Well, then you must know who did it if you know definitively that that person didn't do it. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, Summer Wells, no evidence of foul play either. That's why I never blame the parents. Again, Doodle Mom, they absolutely cannot rule out anybody because they don't have answers yet.
Anywhere, nothing found. No footprints, no video, nothing.
Nothing that is taken us to locate Sebastian.
And are there any working theories?
We come up with theories almost daily and try and investigate and make sure that we're doing everything we can to find Sebastian.
Share any of those?
No, sir.
2 questions, if I may. Have you ruled out Sebastian's mom and stepdad's involvement in this case? And as a follow-up, have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement since day one of this investigation. There is no evidence to support foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the...
Okay, let me explain this once and for all. If I am sitting here saying that I know for a fact that the parents didn't do it, that would mean that I know who did do it. Because that's the only way that I can rule out somebody not definitively not doing it, is to know the answers of who did it. That's why when people come online and they say, I know for a fact that Amber was trolling me. No, you don't, because you have no proof. You're assuming. But unless you know who it was, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I know for a fact that it was not Amber trolling me, but I don't know who it was. Well, then you can't say that you know for a fact that it wasn't her because you don't know who it was. It's the same scenario, the exact same scenario. They're not going to say the parents are definitely innocent because they don't know who's guilty. They don't know who definitively did it, so they can't say that everyone is ruled out. I know, Amber, stop trolling Laura. Then you can't say who's ruled out. So they're keeping it open, but that's absolutely normal. There's nothing fishy about it. There's nothing crazy about it. There's nothing out of line about it. It is as common sense as can be. You can't rule anybody out until you have answers as to what happened. Once they get answers as to what happened, then they can start ruling people out. That doesn't mean that the parents are guilty. That just means they don't have any answers as to what happened. If they find Sebastian, and God forbid they find him no longer with us, and they find that he was hit in the head with a hammer. Well, if that hammer can be linked back to a hammer that the father bought at a hardware store 3 months ago, well, then that's pretty guilty on the parents' part. But if they find out that the hammer came from some weird fingerprint place and it had nothing to do with the parents, they can lean towards ruling out the parents. Exactly, Adrian. That's what I'm explaining, that we don't know until they have a body, until they have answers, until they find him, till they know what actually happened. They're not going to rule out anybody. But it's so dangerous to be putting so many people believing JLR, who was trolling you in the first place, but to believe JLR and his fraud and his bullshit and how this has like taken off is mind-blowing to me. Because again, this all started with JLR's bullshit. JLR didn't like someone, so he started this rumor, and all of a sudden everybody believes it. It's been proven to be false, but everyone believed it anyway. Ellie didn't scale back the investigation. Oh, scale back to, because from what I understand, they've looked everywhere they can possibly look. And they don't believe he's anywhere in the area.
avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned in your last recent evidence, we heard some rumors that you see tests of validity, that there were glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Or have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or separate teams?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They've claimed they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the sheriff's department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks, there's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive?
Have you found their investigation?
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned in your last recent evidence, we heard some rumors that you see tests of validity, that there were glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Or have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or separate teams?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They've claimed they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the sheriff's department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where's the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks, there's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what are you guys going to continue working on?
My hope and prayer is that Sebastian is still alive. Yes. We're going to continue to work on this investigation and follow up every tip and lead that comes in. Some of this may revert back to us going over some things that we've already done for the 6th, 7th, or 8th time. A fresh set of eyes never hurt anything. We're going to continue to work.
All right. So looking at some of the chat, here's what I want to express. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, so don't get mad at me. We are not fucking detectives. Pinning this entire thing on the parents, on the Cajun Navy, saying that we know this and we know that, we know this, and let's deep dive this. That's not helping a case, people. We have no pull. Destroying a case, we have no pull. We are just YouTubers. Even if you want to call yourself a reporter, call yourself a reporter. But we're still YouTubers. We don't have any fucking right to blame anybody. I'm sorry, but we don't. We don't know everything the cops know. Hell, look at fucking, you're not a Mac. I'm so sorry. But I'm not either. Look at Brian Kohlberger. There was so much stuff that they knew that they didn't tell us. Why didn't they tell us? We have a right to know. We should know. Now I'm going to sound like Daddy. We should know what's going on. No, we don't. We don't have any fucking right to know what's going on. That's why it's a police investigation, not a YouTube investigation. It is a police investigation for a fucking reason. What the police need help with, they need help putting out flyers, keeping his name out there, possible sightings. If you know anybody, if you know, your buddy called you up and say, hey, I just kidnapped this kid. I don't know what to do with him. That's what they need your help with. They don't need your help going out there and starting rumors. They certainly don't need your help with sitting online starting rumors. Are they interviewing JLR? Nope, they sure aren't. They don't give a fuck what JLR thinks. It's not stopping their investigation. It's not stopping their searches. So the Cajun Navy went there as a favor to somebody. No different than Dolly going there on his own money. The difference is this company is a nonprofit. Dolly, JLR are all for profit. And I'm not putting down Dolly. I like Dolly. I'm just using him as an example because he's out there. People donate for Dolly being out there. People donate for JLR to be out there. So please tell me why everybody is making such a fucking big deal about the Cajun Navy being out there. Make it make sense. Just make it make sense. Tell me how it's any different. It's not. It's absolutely not. But other people ran with this bash fest. Just ran with this bash fest because JLR said it. Because JLR said it. And a whole thing transpired because of it. But here JLR is bashing this nonprofit. I don't hear the cops mentioning the YouTubers. Yeah, I don't hear that at all. But I did hear them appreciate what Cajun Navy has done. They certainly had no problem saying that. They had no problem saying what they've done and how much they appreciate it. I don't hear that about anybody else. I don't hear him saying anything else. Has anyone spoke to neighbors? Because that would be impeding an investigation. And let me tell you, if it was my kid, I don't care. I would want to talk to anybody and everybody. And if I saw someone with 200,000 subs getting a lot of views, yeah, I want my kid front and center. That's normal. They probably don't even care. History, backgrounds, nothing. They want their kid front and center. And I don't blame them at all. But, oh, absolutely. Look at how many times Dolly has gone live about the Cajun Navy. I've seen it a couple of times. Why not go live about Sebastian? Why not talk about Sebastian? Hey, Marissa, you're starting to feel like a cop? You could be a cop, just not a detective. No, you know what I'm saying, though? And it's like the whole community wants this drama that is happening. And everybody's lost sight of the case itself. I mean, think about it. I'm not going to ask you to do this, but think about it to yourself. Name 3 things about this case that you learned from JLR. Facts. Not speculation, actual facts. Name 3 things you learned. Then say, name 3 things you learned from any of these YouTubers. I watched a YouTuber yesterday for about 5 minutes and I had to turn it off. It's not someone I normally watch. And I know why I don't normally watch him. But he turned around, he was interviewing the biological father. The biological father. Now, mind you, this is the biological father, okay? Turned around to this person. I'm sorry, this person turned around to the biological dad and said, I appreciate you out there with boots on the ground looking for your son. What? Why would a YouTuber say that they appreciate you out there looking for his own son? It's his fucking son. I was nauseous when I heard this. I'm like, are you like fucking entitled or something? Like, you appreciate him out there? It's his son. Why would you appreciate anything? Weirdest fucking thing I ever heard. Right after that, I turned it off. And I know why I never watch this guy. But again, because he's male, nobody talks about it. And if you guys watched it, you know who I'm talking about. Just a regular YouTuber. Wasn't anyone that is normally talked about. Personally, I think he's just another tragedy pimp, but that's neither here nor there. I don't watch him, not going to talk about him. But I just couldn't believe what I heard. I was like, if that's not the dumbest thing I ever heard in my entire life, I don't know what is. Some YouTuber thanking the biological father that he appreciates him out there looking. Oh my God. So to me, that's just how so many in this case have been. And I think it's disgusting. I really do. I think it's absolutely vile. But the danger of continuing to put this on the family. Oh, Smitten Kid, I'm glad you said that because I'm going to address that too. The danger of putting all of this on the parents. What happens if the parents are innocent? Do you guys realize what you've done to this family? If the parents are innocent, they were told not to time out. The cops tell the parents, don't go looking. Now, I understand that. Thank you, Amanda. I understand that certain scenarios could make someone look guilty, but what if they're not? This is so bad. I remember the case of but all right. So time out. Let me explain this. All of these people looking. What if the parents find something? What if they find something? Think about it. What if they find something? What if they found him? They don't want the parents finding their own son. What if they would hide evidence? What if the parents are guilty and they found the body and they hid the evidence? And I understand, I'm not saying that they're not guilty, but I'm certainly not saying they are guilty. Ellie always tell the parents not to search. There's also been a lot of talk about the father and the mother going with the father somewhere. I wouldn't want to sit in the house by myself. I'd be scared to death. I would want that comfort of my husband. People are bringing up his custody fight. And, the things that happen in the custody fight. Every single thing that happened in his custody fight is standard. CPS calls and this one calling and that. It's standard shit. They don't care. Jay will be live again tonight saying they took this baby out to save the daughter. Yeah, I've heard that too. And she gets like 1,500 people in her live. Unbelievable. But in all reality, if it was my kid, I don't know what I'd do. But they have cooperated with the police. They have spoke to every person that they could speak to. They're going on, social media. I was listening to something before, and they didn't mention the case. Maybe it was News Nation. I don't know. But they didn't mention the case, but they said there was a mother who was charged with something, and everybody thought the mother did it. Joy, I don't have a P.O. box. I just have the business address. Everybody thought that the mom did it, and it turns out the mom didn't do it, but the mom did leave a door open. And because she left the door open, she was guilty of him getting out. Oh, no, I think she really did, Ellie, because people love the drama. Every known scammer in this community has been pulling over 1,000 people in their lives on this case. Every known scammer. Because that's what this case has turned into. Who interviewed the ex-wife? They did everything they can do, and YouTube is 8 to... I totally agree, Amanda. And Nancy Grace is no better. It's already been proven that he was not around. That he was 3 hours away. Why would T-Rev interview the ex-wife? They don't believe in foul play. At this point, there's no evidence to support any foul play. But the way they're ripping apart this family is disgusting. I agree. That's the one thing that I agree with B. Tim on. Nancy Grace disgusts me as a human being. I will 100% agree with him on that. It was Trevor, not T-Rev. I don't know who Trevor is. Oh, Trev Time. Yeah, I don't watch him. Sorry, T-Rev. I don't know who Trev Time is. But I don't know why anybody's contacting the ex-wife. Yeah, but me and T-Rev are cool. He wouldn't care. He'd be like, bitch. He didn't contact her. How did someone get a hold of them then? Yes, that is very true. See, I don't believe that, Mia. I do not believe that at all whatsoever. All of these people that say that somebody contacted them, I don't buy it. I just don't believe it. They're not contacting these tiny little channels. And when I say tiny little channels, we are tiny little channels. I don't care if you have 20,000, 50,000, or 100,000. You're a tiny channel. Why wouldn't she contact Brian Enton? Why wouldn't she contact real people? Big people covering it. People with over 1 million. Sorry, I'm not buying that. Someone with 5,000 followers got contacted by the ex-wife. Nope, sorry, not buying it. That doesn't mean he didn't contact her to begin with. But I'm just sorry, I just don't buy it. He could have left her a comment on one of her videos and not a private message. Her friend knew T-Rev or Trev. Exactly, because exes make you look great. Yeah, we need a different name for Trev. Let's just call him Rev. Yeah, but time out. I can leave a comment for somebody and tell them, DM me. And then they DM me and it looks like it's normal. Okay, if he's a local, that's a little different. Peggy, I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. I can leave a comment for somebody in their section on their video and be like, hey, DM me if you want to talk. And then she's going to DM and it's going to look like she's the first one to DM. Unless he's got a huge Facebook following. If he's got a huge Facebook following, that's different. What evidence is needed to suspect foul play? It could be a lot of things. It could be that someone caught him on camera, somebody, heard something, just a lot of things. Yes, there's zero new relevant information. Correct. Other than JLR trolled everybody. There should be a way for folks to reach out to local or state YouTube crime channels, not random fuckers across the country. Well, if someone has a big Facebook presence and maybe not on YouTube, that's different. She can't have a no contact. They have a daughter. They share their daughter. Why would she still have an attorney? They haven't fought in years. He's remarried. Why would she need an attorney? Oh, I believe that, Soflo. He trolls Facebook groups. How old's the daughter? I thought the custody fight was long over. How old is the daughter? I thought the daughter was like 15 or something. Yeah, this is his fourth wife. Oh, you know what? I was thinking his first wife. My bad. Okay, yeah, no, I was thinking the first wife. The one that he talked about from years ago, fifth wife. That's why I was confused. Because when he was on Nancy Grace, the one he was talking about was his first wife, I believe. But he didn't have kids with her. It was her child. That's who I thought they were talking about. But that's the other thing. If you're trying to get custody, the last thing you want to happen is to have a kid go missing. The last thing that you would ever want to happen is for someone's child to go missing. That's not going to help your case at all, in the least, not even the slightest. So anyone that thinks the parents are guilty because of the daughter, you know nothing about custody fights. Because that's the last thing you want. And that's another reason why I don't think the parents did anything. Because anybody with a half a brain would know that you just lost your custody case if a child goes missing and one that you can't find. So it just makes me lean towards the parents are innocent. But Lindsay, based on what though? Yes, 50 Shades. But based on what, Lindsay? Like, why do you think it's to hurt him? Why do you think it's to hurt her? Like, I don't see that at all. I don't think we know enough to base that opinion. But if you want a link to explain that, I'm all ears. The theory of this case, it depends who you ask. It really does. It depends who you ask. Okay, let me. Anybody's welcome to take a link. Don't forget, hit that thumb up. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Send a super chat if you like me. All right. What's T-Rev's? Not T-Rev. What's Trev time? Is that what it's called? He interviews her for 2 hours? Seriously? 2 hours?
I have 3 amazing children. I met Christopher back when I was 35 years old. I met him on a dating website. Don't know what I was doing there, I guess. I wish I could take it back. I started talking to him. He was stationed out in San Diego, and we started talking back and forth. Wanted to get to know him a little bit more. I thought he was a great person in the beginning. But everybody is always perfect in the beginning, right? We fail to see the red flags. And
I don't understand. So she didn't ask him any questions or anything? I mean, he didn't ask her any questions or anything? I'm confused.
we fail to notice things that we should in the beginning. So he made a couple of trips out here, asked me to marry him, and
Thank you, Just a Mom. AMAC 4 months. Whoop. So it's just her rambling for 2 hours? I don't get it.
I made the mistake by saying I do. So we got married. Eventually, we moved to San Diego. I wasn't really ever prepared to move away again from New Mexico. I had went through a divorce a couple years prior to meeting Christopher. And my first husband was military as well, but I was married to him for 9.5 to 10 years, almost 10 years. We made it. And in my son, things, and a lot of it also had to do with how he disciplined my children. I'm very protective over my kids. And I didn't want somebody else to discipline my children. I didn't want him talking ugly to them, or hurting their feelings. And I remember one point in time where Christopher spanked my.
This is the stepfather's baby's mama, but not the baby mama of Sebastian, the one that is missing.
My son really hard, and I got very upset with him, and I said, you can't do that to my son. I said, he's 3, he's a baby still. Like, you can't just do whatever you want. I mean, And he got upset and he's like, well, you know, he needs to learn. He needs to man up. He's a man. I said, he's 3. He's 3. And as time went on, like I could see him getting more aggressive and more aggressive. And I stood up for my kids all the time. I didn't like how he, like I said, how he talked to them, how he wanted them to stand in the corner all the time. And I didn't like that. So I stayed a little bit longer. I ended up eventually getting pregnant with Faith. And it was.
Let me just tell you from personal experience, a judge would laugh their ass off at her. She is everything that you go into a custody fight with. That's wrong. He's so bad, but yet you stuck around. He's so horrible to kids, but you got pregnant and had a baby with him. Bitch, sit down. This is everything that's wrong in custody fights.
Probably, I want to say maybe early September that I found out that I was pregnant with Faith. And I remember telling him that I was pregnant, and he wasn't happy about it. So I called my parents back home here in Albuquerque, and I told them the situation. And I said, well, Christopher wants me to get an abortion with Faith. And my parents said no.
Okay, so he told you that he doesn't want this child. He told you he didn't want it. And you chose to have it anyway. Why? Just why? Are you not a grown adult?
You're not. And I said, I'm not. So I know he was very upset about me keeping Faith at that point in time. So I came home. My grandma had gotten very sick, and I decided to come home. And I was still pregnant with Faith at the time. So we made it. I didn't tell him that we were going out there. So I kind of, wanted to see myself, because the neighbor also informed me that there was people at the house that shouldn't have been there.
He's fighting for custody because he's got to pay child support. Standard, procedure. He didn't want the child, but he's paying child support, so fuck it. He might as well. That's why.
So I guess
if he gets custody, then he doesn't have to pay child support.
Kind of wanted to sneak up on him and see what he was doing, right? And we pulled up into the driveway, into the driveway, and he was coming out the front door with a bed that he was giving to the neighbor, which was my son's bed. And the look on his face was like a deer in headlights. And he dropped the bed right there in the front yard, went back in the front door, slammed the door and locked it on my kids. And my mom told me at that point, she said, I can't believe he's doing this. What is he doing?
Now, whether a kid wants child or not, you put him on that birth certificate, he's paying, he's got to pay. He's still responsible, whether he wants it or not. He's still responsible.
So I go in and I unlock the door and I said, what are you doing? I said, are you giving away my stuff? And he had nothing to say. So he brought the bed back in, because I knew that's what he was doing. And, the neighbor across the street, like I said, told me. So we stayed there. It was super uncomfortable. My mom felt the tension between the both of us. My children felt it as well. And at the time, Faith started moving. Like I could start, I felt her moving around in my stomach. And I told Christopher, I said, look, I said, put your hand on my stomach. I said, can you feel her move? He said, no. When you're pregnant, you always think that your spouse is going to be super supportive and be super excited that you're pregnant and bringing a life into this world for him, right?
For him, he said he didn't want it. So how are you bringing a life in for him?
But I didn't get that. I didn't get that support that I needed. So,
why would you get the support when he told you he wanted you to have an abortion? Why would you get that support?
we had a conversation my mom brought up between Christopher, myself, and her. And she had said, do you not want Faith? Like, do you not want this baby? And Christopher stated to my mom, he wasn't happy. And he said, what if one of them dies? What if Faith dies or Nina dies on the table or when she's having this baby? Like my mom said, don't talk like that. Like, why are you talking like that? They're still here. So at June 2nd, like about 3 or 4 in the morning, and he kept calling the hospital and saying that my wife is in labor, she's there. But Christopher was just he was just so rude and hateful and just, he wasn't even there. And she had told him, look, she just brought life into this world. She just got major surgery and you're yelling at her. And I have a problem with that. She said, if you continue to do this, I'm going to have to tell social services to come down here. And I'm also going to have to ask you to leave the hospital and not return. So at that point in time, he kind of calmed down after he heard that. But unfortunately, that didn't last very long. He continued to do that. So, because my mom and dad live in a trailer and he doesn't like that. It's a house, right? Still. So he rented a room at Kirtland Air Force Base, and they have like lodging there, which is like a house, old base housing, and we ended up getting one of those. And we stayed there for a while. I remember one night in particular and then when she was in her car seat, there was a coffee table right there, and he ended up tossing her on the coffee table with the car seat because he was so irate that she was crying. And I said, hey, I said, what's your problem? I said, what are you doing? Like, she's a baby. She's going to cry. I wish I would have just I wish I would have never met him. I'm sorry. Faith ended up going back into the NICU. She ended up getting jaundice and she went back to the NICU. So she was in the NICU, I want to say for a week to a week and a half. And that was when when Kathy, Chris's
I actually didn't know about this video until today. I learned about it on this live. That's why we're watching it.
mother came out, flew down with her brother, Duran guy, or they call him Big D. They came down, and she was in the NICU. And that was when I felt like a plan was made, because we, like I said, our marriages it was on the rocks. And one of my neighbors had told me in San Diego, they had warned me. They had said, Dina, be careful, because Christopher is coming up with a plan with his mother. And they're planning on taking the baby away from you. And I was like, what? Like, thinking to myself, it can't be true from somebody that's supposed to love you, right? Like somebody that you're supposed to share your life with. Like, why would he want to take the baby away from me? And she warned me. But I was like, no, why would they do that? And I'm sorry. They went back. So Kathy and Big D went back to Tennessee. So 2 weeks later, about 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks later, Kathy ended up coming back by herself. I do apologize. She came back by herself to pick up Faith. She was here in Albuquerque for one night, and I was, even though I was against it, I let her go with Kathy, because Christopher said it was going to be too hard to travel with her being a new baby. So he came out from San Diego, rented a U-Haul, packed all our stuff, and there was cutting my oldest daughter's nails, and she didn't want her nails cut. And Christopher, grabbed a hold of her hand, and she pulled her hand away. And my daughter at the time had braces. He backhand Isabel in the face and busted her whole lip open. I should have left, but I didn't. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't be here. I don't want to be here anymore. So I would come up with every excuse just to come home, but yet, I couldn't come home. So finally we moved into the apartment. And a phone call, like as soon as Christopher was leaving, he settled us in, got a storage unit of what couldn't fit in the apartment. He got everything ready, all right. I was like, okay. So then after that following day, he finally left. His mother came to pick him up to take him to the airport. And he went back to San Diego. And I was left in Hendersonville with 3 downtown. And so we stayed there. I can't recall how many days we were there. And Christopher had, I'd check on the kids, see how they were doing. And that point in time, I was like, okay, well, we got discharged, telling everybody, okay, you can bring Noah back, and telling Kathy, okay, I'm going to be home, so you can bring.
By the way, any decent attorney in a custody fight would have told her, do not even mention anything bad about him. Because in a custody fight, if anyone wants to go through a custody fight, let me give you a good piece of advice that you keep. A custody fight, if you want to win, is not about bashing the other party. It's about what makes you a better parent. People need to realize this. You absolutely do not want to say all the bad things about another parent. you want to say all the good things that makes you a better parent. It's something she is not doing at all. I know nothing about this woman other than she probably should have left a long time ago. This is not what a lawyer would tell her to do.
Faith back, thinking that my children were going to come home to me. I get back to the apartment complex and I pulled into the parking lot and I see Melissa just pulled in right next to me. It seems like they were already there waiting for me to get there. And then she said, I can't stay. I would love to stay, but I can't stay because I don't know what they were doing. And she does, my son gets out of her. I called my mom and dad, and it had to have been after midnight here, so about like 1 something our time there. My dad answered the phone, and he goes, God. He goes, I work for money. I said, and I know, sir. I said, and I promise I will pay you every dime that I can. Just help me bring my baby home. And he said, you got yourself a lawyer. And I handed her to her big sister. Time went into the chambers with the judge, and I don't know what was being said, being done back there, but he was in there for a while. And he ended up coming back out. Court was back in session. Everything was, we were going back and forth again. And at some point in time, the judge just had a sheriff's if he could say goodbye to Faith. And I said, absolutely not. So
Right there, she could lose custody. Why can't he say goodbye to his own daughter? This is all bad. She's not going to win this.
I remember getting in my truck after I got the kids in. And I called my dad and I told him what happened. He was so mad. He goes, he was lucky I wasn't there. I'd have knocked the shit out of him. He said. So I said, all right, Dad, I'm coming. Well, everybody followed me down the interstate.
That's what I said in the beginning, and people were telling me they're in the middle of a custody fight. That's exactly what I was saying in the beginning. So she already does have full custody. So I was right.
My dad and I were weaving in and out of traffic, trying to lose them. The whole family were following me and Dad about 80, 90 miles an hour. We were going down the interstate just to get away from them. We drove all night. At this point in time, I didn't really agree to the parenting plan. I didn't like it, but I signed it anyways. Just because I wanted it to be over with. The divorce was finally final. And he was still stationed, I believe, in San Diego at this point in time. He was, if I'm correct, he was already living with Katie when we were still married. We were going through the divorce, but he had moved in with her. And I was pretty surprised how fast he moved on with his life. Like we never mattered. Like Faith was like, he never had a family. But I should have known that as well prior to the marriages before me, like how he just moved on so quickly with his life. So he would take Faith out there when she was little, like for 2 weeks or a week. And, Katie and them would be living the family life. I, at the time, did not know Sebastian or Katie. I would just see Katie through FaceTime where she would be doing something in the background. And I would ask Christopher, like, I would tell him, I can't believe you've moved on with your life so quick. Like who does that? Well, back and forth we would be going, with Faith. And I finally moved on with my life. But Christopher had made a statement.
Chris didn't want a kid, but he didn't want to pay child support. Once child support happened, which it obviously did, he was like, well, fuck this. I want the kid. But yeah, it's totally jumping, Brandley. I'm not listening to 2 hours of her.
The other night on one of the interviews, the podcasts that he was doing. And I didn't like the way he said this. How he called Nina moved in with a man. Like, he knows this person's name. And he deserves to be called his name, not the man. And remind you, I've known Wayne for over 3.5 years. He was my client before we even got exclusive, like being in a relationship, before we even moved in together. He knew I had children. I mean, so for him to sit there and say that, he basically made it sound like he didn't know this person. He does. So here we are. Faith is 6. I'm still living in this nightmare that he's created. We live in fear every single day. We're constantly watching over our backs. My kids don't even know what a normal childhood should feel like, because they were exposed to all this at a very young age.
Okay, that's total bullshit. Total bullshit. My kids watched the most hellacious custody fight in the prime of their toddler years, and they had a great childhood. So, no, I'm not buying that.
Awful things that other people could do. My oldest daughter said it best. She said, Mom, I feel like I was robbed of my childhood because of Chris. Because of everything that he's done. I've had to grow up so quick to protect my siblings. And you protecting us and always living in fear. Being called to the office and wondering if Child Protective Services was there. She's 15 now and still hates to go to the office because of everything that he's done and his family has done. I feel helpless because I can't I feel like I can't protect them enough. And I wish there was more that I can do. We're still living in this nightmare. We're still going to court. He still complains about everything when it's not his way. In the beginning, there was CPS called. He used Child Protective Service on me because of the divorce. To get
So does every custody fight.
my children taken away from me. He has a friend that works at Albuquerque Police Department as well. That I don't know if he still keeps in contact with him. I believe so. He was told to do a welfare check on us one night, but he didn't take the call, probably because he knew both of us. I mean, I don't know, and I don't know how that would have been used against him either, I guess. I mean, maybe he was worried about that. Just, he's been filing for full custody, Christopher, for about a year to 2 years now, if I recall. A lot of this stuff is just, it doesn't make sense to me. He's made a mess. He tells people that I'm unstable, that I need a psychiatric evaluation, that I'm, that I'm pretty much crazy. It's been a nightmare. And the recent one, why he's pushing for full custody, is because I moved Faith out of Bosque Farms Elementary to a Native American academy in Albuquerque, where my youngest son goes and my oldest daughter goes down the street to a high school, and it's a minute away. So I was trying to make the commute easier for all of us. All my kids are in curricular activities. My son's in football. My Faith cheers for her brother's Yaffle football team. So practice. My 2 older girls are in Mexican folk dancing, Faith and her older sister are in Mexican folk dancing. My children are in 4-H. So my kids are super busy, and I work in the city as well. So trying to make my life easier, I decided to put her there. And he did not like that, him and his attorney. So they're pushing for full custody about that.
Nobody's pushing for full custody for changing elementary schools, unless you're in another state. But yeah, just changing elementary schools is not going to cause someone to go for full custody.
I mean, I can't even recall how many other nonsense issues have been brought up. My children, myself, I mean, I'm over it. I'm tired. This has worn my whole entire family down, my children, myself. This is like the first thing I think of when I wake up, and the last thing I think about when I go to sleep. Going back to the trial, was getting prepared. And I get the call. You get a call. And at this point in time, you know, I'm not talking to Christopher. We don't, I want to make that loud and clear. We do not have a good co-parenting relationship. We don't talk on a regular basis. I refuse to talk to Christopher because everything has to be his way. I don't entertain any of his conversations. In the past, when I used to, and I thought that a relationship between him and I, and we're learning how to co-parent and it's good, it backfired. It kicked me in my ass. Everything that I told, he used against me in court all the time, every single thing. So I had to learn not to trust him. I've had to, I don't talk to him. So for him to say on some of his podcasts is that he, you know, we have good, you know, parenting skills, or we know how to talk to, we don't know how to talk to each other. I refuse to communicate with this man. So he calls me that Wednesday, and he's like, and I was like, oh, great, he's calling. So I just went straight to voicemail. And then he had said 911, call me. So then I was like, well, it must be emergency. So let me call him. I called him and I said, what's up, Chris? And he was like, you know, he's like, Nina, I gotta tell you something. And I was like, and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna tell me that the trial, we're not gonna go to trial, that everything is gonna be done with, and we don't need to worry, and we can, you know, we don't need to do all this stuff. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. And then he tells me, I gotta be open and honest with you. And then he pauses like for 6 or 7 seconds, and I'm like, well, I was like, what? What do you have to tell me? So then at that point in time, he tells me that Sebastian went missing. And I was speechless. I have to say, I was speechless. And then I went into saying, well, what happened? Like, how did he go missing? Like, what happened? And he said, well, he went missing between 12:30 and 6 a.m. And I'm like, it's thinking to myself, and then, you know, like, that's crazy. And I said, don't you have security cameras, Christopher? I said, you mean you have security cameras in your house? I mean, don't you? And he paused. He didn't say anything. So then I said, what happened to your dogs? I said, don't your dogs? I said, you have those Yorkies, or, and I said, every time that I call Faith, I said, they're barking. He didn't say nothing. So I said, I said, are you lying to me? I said, because I mean, thinking in my head, like, are you just buying more time for this trial that's coming up? Like, you know, what other information are you going to find out that you're going to use against me, right? So then I said, I'm going to look this up. And I said, have you contacted your lawyer yet? I said, we still have a trial. I said, at 8:30 next Tuesday. And he had raised his voice at me and he said, we're not going. And I was like, don't raise your voice at me. You're not going to disrespect me like that. You're not going to raise your voice at me. So then I said, by law, I said, I have to contact my attorney. And I said, I'm going to email him as soon as I get off the phone with you. And I'm going to tell him that there's a missing child. And I had stated like, okay, well, is there like something, we could do? Can you send me like a flyer? Can you send me something? I said, I could put it on my social media and it'll take off. Like I have a lot of people that I know and a lot of my clientele. I said, we're willing to, they share a lot of my stuff. So he never sent me anything. And he was so worried about his phone, and he had said something. He's like, the fucking cops had my phone, and I had to call Faith, and I told him I had to fucking call my daughter. And I said, Christopher, I said, you need to calm down. I said, Faith is fine. She's with me. I'm her mother. I said, she was with her family here. I said, you don't need to worry about her. You don't need to worry about her whatsoever. And and he wanted to say more, and he repeated himself again, and he said, I need to be.
All right, is anyone else done with this? Because I'm done. Like, I cannot stand this lady. I don't care about a story. I think she's an idiot. I also think Chris is an idiot, and I'm just done with it. So if anybody else wants me to continue to play it, I will, but I'm pretty much done. I get the gist. She don't like Chris. But I did find something else. Hang on. Yeah, totally done. This I did find. This was posted an hour and a half ago. Rumor mill has done nothing to help. Keep that in mind, guys. Rumor mill. It's what the whole live started is about.
There's been an exhaustive search for Sebastian Rogers, but with few updates from authorities in recent weeks, some have wondered, is enough being done?
We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes in, we follow up on it.
Eric Craddock is chief deputy with the Sumner County Sheriff's Office and heads up the investigation. He sat down for an exclusive one-on-one to talk about what they do when there are few new leads.
I think in the absence of information, what we'll continue to do is go back over everything we've already done once, put a fresh set of eyes on it.
To that end, Craddock says searchers recently found a pair of glasses, which they are checking to see if they belong to Sebastian. He says the parents continue to fully cooperate. Any evidence of foul play?
We have not cleared anyone, but we have absolutely no evidence to support foul play.
I asked about exclusive home security video obtained from the neighborhood the night Sebastian disappeared. You can see two suspicious light sources, which we've circled here in an area behind the teen's home. Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
And so it could play a role down the road depending on developments?
We don't know what we don't know. So yes, it could play a role.
So many are, of course, closely following this case. How difficult has it been, all the noise on social media?
Oh, the rumor mill on social media has done nothing to advance this case.
Craddock says investigators continue to work the case daily and deal not with feelings, but facts and evidence.
There's no stone left unturned.
Nick Barris, News Channel 5.
So the article states he disappeared more than 5 weeks ago from his Hendersonville home. There's been an exhaustive search, few updates. We're doing everything we can do. Every time a tip comes down, we look it up. Chief Deputy said he sat down for one-on-one. TBI reports receiving more than 300 tips since Sebastian went missing. Number to call is 1-800-TBI find. It does not say if it was his glasses. But the fact that he left his house without shoes on is a little strange. In the middle of the night. Just a little odd. Thomas in their town, the police can sit for interviews but can't give any info on the missing child. I just don't understand how nobody has cameras. I mean, around here, everybody's got cameras. Like everybody. And you're going to tell me not one house had a camera? I just don't think it's right to put it on the parents. But is it possible that he died? Christopher took him? Yeah, it's possible. Is it possible that he went with Christopher? Hey, pretty. Is it possible that he went with Christopher? And that's what is all shady? It's possible. Pretty, in reference to the case or something else? The mom works for a camera security company and doesn't have cameras? I mean, is it possible that I don't know. It could simply be, I mean, it can honestly be as simple as they're not showing anything because they believe the parents are guilty. And they want to make sure they don't run or anything. I mean, we just don't know what the cops know. Police might be keeping info hidden, exactly. But like the cops said, the rumor mills are not helping. People like JLR are not helping. But I mean, this kid disappeared in February. We're in April. I don't blame them for calling off the ground search. Ex-wives aren't helping. I mean, from what she said, though, and him being married 5 times, he sounds like a narcissist. I mean, he does. He sounds like a control freak and a narc who didn't want kids. So it's very possible that he took the kid the night before, you know, when he left. Have they done any searches where he was? You know, everybody assumes the mom's telling the truth. Well, maybe he went with Christopher. Maybe he said, I'm taking Christopher with me on this trip. And then he disappeared, and they don't want to say that he disappeared. I mean, I could think of so many scenarios. Think about this for a second. Allegedly, he wasn't home. Oh, he'd been gone since the beginning of February. Yeah, keep pushing his info, not false info, though. They mean info like Lindsay's doing, not fake info. United Cajun Navy began setting up headquarters at Navy Volunteer in Hendersonville on Monday, March 25th, after answering calls to join the search for Sebastian. The nonprofit organization said it's working independently from the sheriff's office. United Cajun Navy was supposed to hold a safety briefing on Tuesday, March 26th for those wanting to volunteer, but it was postponed due to unsafe weather conditions. The first organized volunteer search for Sebastian launched Wednesday, the 27th. Turnout was enough for an all-day search, with efforts coming to and around 3 p.m. Volunteer search crews plan to head out. Okay. This is what my whole live was about to begin with. The Cajun Navy got there on March 25th. March 25th. United Cajun Navy joins the search, a legit company that said they're working independently from the sheriff's office. They were expected to hold a safety briefing for all volunteers and have an organized. JLR turned that into a fucking shit show. And then other people jumped on it. They couldn't do it on the 26th because postponed due to unsafe weather conditions. But they did do their first organized volunteer search for Sebastian, launched on March 27th. There was nothing shady about it. There is nothing crazy about it. They did what they had to do. They're not a fake company. They're not. JLR just didn't like the fact of that they were organizing a search. JLR wanted to do his own thing. Cajun Navy is 100% a legit nonprofit. 100%. Do some research. You will see. The same people that named when they did their post, even that JLR named, are the exact same people that runs this nonprofit. JLR trolled everybody, started a rumor, and people ran with it. I don't understand why. JLR is the same fraud he's always been. Friday, March 29th, United Cajun Navy called off its search for Sebastian. In a statement on social media, the organization decided to pull back and regroup. Was made due to increasing safety concerns in the upcoming Easter holiday. Safety concerns are reportedly related to alleged death threats, which alleged death threats that hold on. Alleged death threats that whatchamacallit, that probably stemmed from JLR people. JLR had a right to be there, absolutely. But this company was organizing a search. JLR didn't need to start rumors about a search. And they shouldn't let him stream. He's a YouTuber. He's not a reporter. All right, what's up?
Okay, sorry. I was just like just kind of, I don't know. I sent you like, it's kind of a long message, or a lot of long messages. Stop it. A lot of long messages because the Native American culture here in New Mexico, I mean, I'm literally 30 minutes from the Navajo Nation, a reservation. It's the largest reservation in the United States. So, and so I kind of have like, you know, a lot of knowledge on their culture, and they do believe in literally staying with people until literally almost death do them apart. It's weird. I mean, I'm just saying I'm not saying all natives Americans are weird, but they do have their own culture that they go by. And she, with her being half and half, I can understand both the, you know, the Spanish and the Native American together, because we have a lot. It's huge here. And so her, and a lot of things too that came up in her story, I just kind of wanted to share with you too, happened to my brother. Like, picture my brother as her. Okay. He went through a nasty custody fight and he wasn't even married to her. And I have 2 nieces and a nephew out of that. And my oldest niece is an alcoholic, a raging alcoholic. She was, and the whole time my brother was going through court, it was 5 years, and they were, you know, going back and forth all the time, going to the court. I mean, every little thing he would, you know, he'd have to pay his lawyer more because she wanted like a change in the school they went to. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And so he would do that because he was like, no, they're in my care. You know, she had visitation. She was a drug addict and she did a lot of meth. So, but my oldest niece, I guess my point of this is that my oldest niece suffers a lot of trauma from having to feel like she always had to take care of her siblings, her little brother and sister. So it has affected her now, and she's almost 28. So, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, some of this girl's story is, you know, I don't believe it's all true. I mean, by any means, you know, I mean, there's always, you know, 2 sides to every story, and there's the truth, you know, so I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that having experienced something like that, I mean, you know, that girl literally beat my brother in the head with a shotgun barrel. Okay. I mean, that's how bad it was. So for her, I can only imagine. And I mean, the ages of my nieces and my nephew, it comes kind of into play. You know what I mean? Like, so I can understand the trauma. I see it in my oldest niece to this day, you know, and she was 5. So
No,
I can,
I mean, I went through a
yeah,
custody
yeah.
fight.
Yeah, I mean, and so I know you understand, like, you know, the fights can be nasty, but yes, changing in elementary school, absolutely. He could put in a motion, and that's what he did. And I've pulled all of his records from here in New Mexico because I live here, and I only live 2.5 hours north of where she lives. And so I know exactly the places that she's talking about, the hours that she's talking about to get to the Navajo reservation. I know exactly it is 5 hours from her. It's 30 minutes from me because I'm way north in the northwest corner. You know,
How far is the original school she was talking about to the other one?
so Bosque is she's in, it's probably maybe an hour, if that. Because Bosque Farms is not very far from probably from the city where she lives, you know, and the other kids went to school. So maybe an hour, that's it. And it's probably a bigger school, obviously, because it would be in the city of Albuquerque instead of Bosque Farms, which is just kind of a suburb of Albuquerque, kind of like Moriarty and Espen, you know, all these places in Santa Fe. Santa Fe's right up there, the state capital, you know, so it's all these little cities, you know. Edgewood is another little suburb of Albuquerque. So Bosque Farms is the closest one to Albuquerque. So I would say at most an hour.
So it has nothing to do with, like, you wouldn't try to change custody over that.
No, I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, but he's just taken her, I mean, you know what I mean? He's just doing everything just to kind of be a dick. I mean, you know, and I understand that because that's what Heather did to my brother. She did the same shit. And every time, you know, he'd have to go and fight for it back, you know, because in here, like, you know, all we did, like the kids, you know, we wanted the kids to go to Aztec schools, right? Because my brother lived closer to Aztec and he had the kids and she had visitation. She lived in Kirtland, which is 45 minutes away, and she wanted the kids to go there. She fought it and they had to go to court over it. It's ridiculous. The law here is so stupid in custody battles. It's dumb.
It's everywhere.
And I mean, and I'm the first one to say and to get anything done here, and especially when you're dealing with the tribe, is an act of Congress.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it's terrible. I mean, they have their own nation, and I'm like, there is no, they cannot sell liquor on the reservation here of any kind, no beer, no nothing. They get it from here in town and they take it out there, they bootleg it. And they are literally their own, and they live on that land and they get a 99-year lease. And so basically they never own it, but you have to meet certain criteria. And so with her having that tribal blood on the birth certificate of that kid, it makes it even more messy.
Yeah, that's normal stuff.
It's crazy. I mean,
that's normal custody fight.
Well, do you know about the tribes though, Laura? I'm just asking.
I'm saying that's a normal custody fight.
No, I know, but do you know about the tribes though? Do you know? Because nothing is normal about the tribe. I can tell you that from firsthand experience. I've been here for 53 years. And the tribe is a whole different ball game. Navajo Nation is a whole different ball game. Cherokees, Apache, Hickoryas, whole different ball game. They're all separate tribes. And the Navajo Nation is the largest. And it literally takes a long time, even if they have that blood in them. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. And then if you don't understand the tribe and the Navajo reservation and everything, I mean, there is like a really good, like a short, like you could listen to it or something maybe that it'll just blow your fucking mind. I mean, I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind on how those people freaking live out there. It's nuts. And like they come across here, but we can't go over there. We cannot go on their land. Period. We can't. We're not welcome.
I hear you.
It's weird. It's just weird. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like and you don't even have to have like half, you know, in you. You could have literally 2% and qualify for tribal benefits. Those tribal benefits are totally separate. Like they don't, you know, the Navajo Nation is the lowest paid out reservation they have. All the casinos here are on the reservation because that's where they're at. That's how they make their money, is by the casinos. So we don't have any outside of the reservation here in my area, except for in Albuquerque. And it's still in the outside areas. So he's just, I mean, in a sense, I mean, I see like, I mean, my brother, of course, was like stronger, you know, like he was just like, screw her, you know, and everything. I mean, yeah, everything was, but all of it was such a big deal. And for nothing, you know, for really nothing. It's like, I mean, she failed 3 drug tests in a row, and still they let her have visitation to hit these kids. My brother, I'm like, here, my brother is squeaky ass clean, taking care of these kids. Finally, he gets them after 7 years of fighting. He gets them because she did not show up on the final court date of the final deal for no contact, no visitation, sole custody of those kids. And it was about 15 grand later. So
15, I wish that's all I spent. Me and Brad have a fine total of 200, literally, between appeals and courts and oh, it's horrible.
I can only imagine, Laura. And the only reason that I think that, you know, like yours was probably so much more too, is because, you know, he had more, you know, he had more money to spend, but you had some knowledge, right? So you know, like you both had, and she had, you know, her loser ass had no knowledge, you know, and she's just, you know, they even gave her a public defender. I mean, her arrest record was literally 3 pages long in NewMexicoCourts.com, .gov, or whatever the hell it is. But, you know, I mean, and drugs, selling, trafficking, everything with the kids. All 3 of those kids are meth babies. It's freaking sad.
No.
I mean, it's awful. And to see how much these kids struggle to this day, how much that affected them is astonishing. I mean, completely astonishing. And it's sad. You know, and it's like, you wouldn't think you would remember all that. These kids, I mean, Lindsay is the youngest and she's 22. And she told me, she's like, oh yeah, I remember one time at my mom's, she left me in the bathtub and Haley was 5. Okay. And she had to go get her sister out of the bathtub and take care of her because their mother would not. It was bad. I mean, they didn't even, none of them were potty trained until my brother got them.
No.
And you know, she didn't even put his name on the birth certificate at all, on any of them. So he's like, these are my kids. I'm going to take care of them. Like, this bitch is not going to ruin my kids. You know, I mean, it was awful. And the manipulation was terrible. And her family.
That's all normal stuff. That's standard.
It's just,
fight.
Well, that's, yeah. How, I mean, but what I'm saying is that part that I'm telling you is with my brother. Yes. But when you go deal with the tribe, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, spam. It's totally different. If you have 1% Native American in you, it is all on a different ball game. They have their own police out there. They have their own everything out there. And our police are not allowed to go over there. Theirs are not allowed to come here. I'm telling you, it's freaking culture of its own. And I mean, you know, I have a lot of Native American friends that are wonderful, wonderful people. But it is it's crazy. And the only reason I know all this is I've lived here all my life, you know, and I have those friends and I've been to ceremonies. I've been to those things. So I know what they do. I know how they live. And it's just, it's a different world. It's almost like a third world country in a way, you know. It's I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to explain. I mean, you know, there's been a lot of massacres here in Chokecherry Canyon years back. They massacred several Native Americans in Chokecherry Canyon. You can look it up online and just look up Chokecherry Canyon massacre. And the white people here did that to those poor natives. They drugged them from the reservation here and killed them in Chokecherry Canyon. It's crazy. I'm telling you, it's nuts. But I mean, mainly, yes, I agree. Like, you know, like the major, you know, custody stuff, you know, like, yeah, that stuff is normal, you know, but I don't put it past this guy. And I don't know. I encourage you to look up his record. I mean, she's truly a DV survivor, truly. And so is my brother. And I stand on that because, you know, he never, ever hit Heather, ever. And he was beat to a pulp with a shotgun end. And it was ugly. He split his head open. He never touched her. Never. I mean, she was crazy,
That's
but yeah, it is sad. It's sad. And it does. And the kids see that shit. It fucked them up. I mean, I'm just saying, I've watched them grow up. I raised two of them. I raised the two girls, those are the two girls I raised,
no.
To help my brother out. And, cause it was just like, we don't have that much family here, as far as like, our side is small, and we're in such a small town. It's like, so me and my mom did the best we could to help my brother out. He was just single dude. He's never been married to this day. But it was hard on those kids. Those kids were it, and they remember every little single bit of it. And that's this part that saddens me the most.
How old were they?
Lindsay was 2, Bailey was 3, and Haley was 5. And it was sad. They all remember it, all of them. And they all remember hiding in the closets, hiding away from, because they were scared. They remember locking themselves in the bathroom, trying to get away from their mom so she wouldn't hit them. It was awful. And I mean,
I did remember that. No, I'm just kidding.
It was terrible. It was awful. It was so sad. And it makes me so sad today because I see them still fighting this trauma. And especially Haley, because she was the oldest and she felt like she had to take care of them. She was like the mother hen.
Mm-hmm.
And she still acts like that today.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I'm thinking that's probably why Nina's oldest daughter, the one that's like, I guess 15 or whatever now, is traumatized. I imagine she is. I imagine they all are. I mean, that's normal. I mean, I witnessed it here. So, surely if I saw, that, which is, yeah, it's rare for them to remember all that. But these kids, I was surprised how much they remembered. I mean, they literally remembered watching their mother cut up lines with a credit card on a table while they were there. I mean, it was an ugly, ugly fight. Ugly, but I don't know. It's just that the whole tribal and that culture is so different. And it's very interesting though. Like, I wouldn't, I've read, of course, book after book, but I've also lived it here, so, but if you ever want to listen to, like, if you're just like bored or something, and you want to listen to something, just stick in a podcast on, go to the Choke Cherry Massacre. I mean, it's all there. It's sad. It's sad.
All right. I'll
It's
keep that in
nuts,
mind.
lady. Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
Just type in Navajo Reservation. I mean, it's the largest in the United States. So, and there's, it's very different. It's very interesting. They have their own hospital too. We can't go there. We can't go there, but we can't go over there, but they can come here. It's strange. It's the weirdest shit I've ever experienced in my life, but it's all I know though. You know what I mean? So I don't think about it really. I'm like, oh, that's a second, it's a second nature here.
Hold on. Jen B, what she's talking about is the ex-wife. I played the interview of the ex-wife, who's Navajo. That's where the connection is.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't look at chat, Laura. You know me, I'm terrible at that. I don't look at chat when I'm on a panel, because if anything comes up, I know, you'll say something or whatever, or answer or whatever. So, or tell me, or we know what I mean. But, and that just, it floored me, he has the money. And another thing too, I've been wanting to explain this to people and I haven't been able to, but like, Mr. Proudfoot is a crane operator. Okay. He could work for Mortensen or or he could work for another company, or there's so many companies, and he works on per diem. So, you know, I have a very, very close friend, and he's a crane operator and has been for many years. In fact, he worked for Mortensen. It's a huge company, and he operated a crane. He never so Mr. Proudfoot was on the job where St. Jude's was having work done. He was operating the crane that was on that job. Crane operators are per diem union generally, and they, you know, and so that's probably why he has a fifth wheel as well, because they live in their fifth wheels there, saves them money. They don't have to get a hotel. They stay on the job for months at a time, and then they can move to another job. So he may have gotten, not accepted back on that job, and that may be why he's in Mississippi. And a lot of people don't understand that. The only reason I do is because of my good buddy, so they can shift, wherever and work, because per diem plus wage is, those guys make almost 200 grand a year, literally. And that's on the low side.
Yeah.
He was, Mark was making bank, but it's crazy. But he worked, and he traveled all over. He went to, he hardly ever was in New Mexico because we didn't have anything really here for that size of a crane. So he was a lot of time in Colorado, spent a lot of time in Kansas, a lot of time in, Missouri, up in that area, Nebraska, all those places up there, Wyoming, and anywhere there was a wind farm. There he was. Yeah. So it's just, pretty crazy. But I don't think a lot of people understand, that he didn't really get fired. He probably, because of the chaos. And I know it's uncalled for, in my opinion. The chaos doesn't need to happen with his work. He shouldn't have been ever put in that predicament for chaos to happen to him. I don't agree with that. But he probably still works for the same crane up, and he just moved to a different state, Mississippi.
I agree.
And because that's how they work, they have so many jobs in so many different states. So that's probably what they did, just so that, to protect the job itself, but, anyway, I don't know if that helps as far as the crane. I hope people listen to this live about the crane operator, because they keep running with, that it's, he lost his job and now he's not working. And they're saying, oh, well, now he's working. Well, yes, that's possible. It really is with a crane operator,
I agree.
Yeah. So and I've heard people say, well, in this interview, he says he lost his job. How can he be working if he lost his job? Well, because it's per diem, and he can go to another state for the same company, or a different company could pick him up.
Yeah.
Because crane operators are not a dime a dozen. They're very, and that's why they're so high paid. But anyway, yeah. So I hope that helps too, like with his job, because, I don't agree with anyone losing their job. I don't like crap. I hate that. It's it's cancel culture to me, and I hate it. I don't like that, and that's just, her story. No, I don't believe a lot of Katie's story, but I do believe some of it.
I believe her story over his.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe Katie over Mr. Proudfoot any day. But, it's sad. This poor child, and all this chaos in the mix of everything that, that they're all going through is just absolutely freaking nuts. And then everybody running with that rumor that the law enforcement hired or asked for the, United Cajun Navy to help. No, they didn't. They did not. I mean, it was in that interview. They did not. I mean, they said they didn't. I mean, they wanted anyone's help that would help keep this guy's face out there. And, but I don't know, did I tell you about Trev time? I can't remember if I did.
No, but I'm going to have to cut. So I got to make date and dinner in a minute.
Okay. I'm just going to tell you really super quick and I'll get off. So Trev Time lives in Tennessee. He lives right by Summer Wells. So he lives in that area. So he has a Facebook group, right? So she found Trev through his Facebook group and contacted him. And I've seen the proof on this and wanted a platform to tell her story about what she has lived. And so I'm guessing that she has never made it past this trauma. And so she's going through it again. You know what I mean? Like she didn't ever get help to make it through the trauma. And so it's almost like she's reliving it again.
But it has nothing to do with her.
I know, but for the custody part, probably, I mean, with all of the lies Christopher's been putting out there about her, I mean, I don't blame her. I don't blame her. I mean, he has smashed her everywhere he goes, everywhere he talks. He smashes the shit out of her. I don't
think he does. I haven't heard.
I've seen two that he did. I've seen two that he's done that to. Two different. Stop. But like the bio data's, I think he's really very nice guy. Very, you can really tell, his heart. And, just don't know how you're going to act because it's not your kid, Like, that's what I want people to understand, too. It's like, they don't have any missing kids. How can you judge how someone else acts, Just because they may not cry on TV. Well, you don't know that they're not crying themselves to sleep.
True.
And it's sad all the way around, I mean, in my opinion, but I hope they find this little boy. I mean, I feel so horrible for him and what he's had to go through. And if, I mean, I don't know. Chris has a lot of DV on him. Just put it that way. And Katie's his fifth wife. I mean, at some point you got to go, maybe it's me. Yeah, she's wife number 5. So, but
I agree.
And the Native Americans do not believe in abortion at all, at any cost. At any cost. And that's their culture. And that's where that came through. Yeah. But anyways, I'll let you go, dear.
I gotta get off.
You got it. No, I know.
I love you.
Okay. Love you too. Hang in there.
All right.
Okay. Bye.
Will do.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, guys. I gotta get off. I gotta get date and dinner, and it's 6:30. I gotta get candle orders ready to get out tomorrow because I have chemo Thursday, which I am so not looking forward to. So I gotta get all candle orders done. And I don't want to go for chemo. I'm telling you, I'm going to convince her that this is the last fucking chemo I have. So on that note, I'll see you beautiful people tomorrow. And that's it. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for Cash App, PayPal, Super Chat, all the love. And I'll definitely be live tomorrow because I don't want to go to chemo Thursday. Hopefully I can convince her that 3 is better than 4 and it'll be my last one. Hopefully. We hope. I know it's 6:30. I got to make date and dinner. He hasn't eaten yet. So, all right. I'll see you guys later. Peace.